So I know a lot of people are struggling with power today. I really hope you can see me though. But if you do have any difficulties, please just let us know. I'm Lani Khoisan. I'm a radio and TV presenter and lecturer, and I'm very, very excited to be here with you today. And over the next hour or so, we will hear from industry experts with the aim to really connect designers, retailers, and buyers to SA's Mohair value chain and to share some insights in order to gain a better understanding of the industry. Now, just a few housekeeping rules before we get going. We will have a Q&A at the end of the session. So if you do have any questions, please type it in our chat box. And if it is directed to someone specifically, please just clearly indicate their name and we'll have a look at that at the end. And then we'll also have a poll on the screen, and I do encourage you to vote. We'll look at those results at the end of today's session. Then if you'd like an information pack about the companies represented here today, you can also just click on the link and complete the form, but we will be sending you an email with all the details at the end. And seeing as we are on load shedding level 4, we'll try and wrap everything up at about 4 p.m. today. Now, this webinar is proudly brought to you by South Africa Mohair Cluster, an organization with the purpose of growing local value addition and mohair product accessibility. And they are funded by the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition. And the South Africa Mohair Cluster is hosting this webinar in collaboration with SA Fashion Week. And we are so grateful to have you on board today. But before we get to the panelists, did you know that South Africa is the global leader in the production of mohair? Yeah, approximately 50% of the world's mohair is grown right here in South Africa. And the next closest contributor is Lesotho, contributing about 18% of the world's mohair. And other than the sheer cuteness of these Angora goats, and I must admit that I've thought of having one as a pet right here in my flat in the middle of Joburg, but they actually play a critical role in our country's socio-economic landscape, making mohair a resource that is definitely worth protecting and developing. And over the course of the last 4 years, the South Africa Mohair Cluster has been conducting some research, and some of their findings rather, is that mohair products are not accessible enough to our local South African market. And while the fiber is most popular in Europe, it is less present in clothing and home decor collections than it should be. Now, the SA Mohair Cluster has identified that by making mohair products more accessible to markets, it is more likely that we will grow an appreciation for this ancient and noble fiber and the benefits that it delivers. So we must safeguard the employment and economic contribution mohair makes to the South African economy. If this focus is applied sector-wide, it may result in the retention, if not the growth, of these contributions. Now let's get going with our panelists. The first one is Cyril Naicker from the Fashion Revolution. He's the founding member and head of the Fashion Revolution South Africa team. Cyril is a sought-after fashion consultant, mentor, and influencer in the SA fashion space. A fashion designer by qualification, he has spent the last 20 years working in almost every aspect of the fashion industry, becoming a trailblazer in leading the South African sustainable fashion movement. Now, Cyril will be giving us his expert opinion on the responsibility of the mohair value chain. Thank you, Cyril.
Landi, thank you so much for that introduction. Hi, everybody, and thank you to the SA Mohair Cluster and partners for having me part of this panel today. So Fashion Revolution works towards a fashion industry that conserves and restores the environment and values people over growth and profit. Founded in the wake of the Rana Plaza disaster in Bangladesh, Fashion Revolution has become the world's largest fashion activism movement, mobilizing citizens, industry, and policymakers through their research, education, and advocacy work. Luckily, I'm here to talk about mohair. Did you know that approximately 90% of the world's mohair is imported and processed in South Africa? It's pretty phenomenal. My topic today is being a responsible value chain participant. Supply chains in the garment and textile industry are long, complex, fragmented, continuously evolving, and notoriously opaque. Supply chains are more like webs than linear chains with layers of agents, contractors, and subcontractors. This is a problem because fragmented and opaque supply chains can allow for exploitative and unsafe working conditions to thrive while obscuring who has the responsibility and power to redress them. Therefore, Fashion Revolution, among many other organizations, has been calling for greater transparency and accountability beyond the Rana Plaza building collapse in Bangladesh in 2013, killing more than 1,000 garment workers. There is a notable lack of transparency beyond the first tier of manufacturing, where millions of people around the world are working to produce and process the fiber and fabrics we wear. This is a classic example of when transparency doesn't exist. So brands and retailers that sell clothing and shoes regarded their supply network as information that must be kept secret to maintain competitive advantage in the market. However, many brands and retailers have come to understand that by mapping and disclosing their suppliers, it won't damage their competitive advantage, but rather it can help them to more easily track unauthorized subcontracting, validate data such as facility name and location to ensure a greater accuracy of supplier information, receive timely and credible information from worker representatives, which can help mitigate labor and human rights risks, enable collaboration with other companies sourcing in the same facilities, enhance brand trustworthiness and reputation among consumers and investors, identify bottlenecks and inefficient processes throughout the supply chain in order to improve workflow and save money, comply with an increasing number of social and environmental regulations, provide competitive advantage, resulting in an increased market share. Consumers are increasingly expecting brands and retailers to be more transparent about where, how, and under what conditions their products are made. In 2018, Fashion Revolution surveyed 5,000 European consumers aged 16 to 75 and found that 80% believe fashion brands should publish which factories are used to manufacture their products. And 77% said fashion brands should publish the suppliers further down the chain where materials are sourced. And a 2019 study from Fibre and the Consumer Goods Forum found that 94% of consumers are likely to be loyal to a brand that offers complete transparency, but only 19% believed that the clothes they buy provide enough information about their social and environmental impact. The COVID-19 pandemic has brought into stark light just how opaque, precarious, and fragile the whole fashion system is structured. The buying and production model is propped up by the labor and expendability of low-paid farmers, home workers, and factory workers who have few protections. In contrast, brands and retailers should be paying extra attention and providing extra support to their supplier at this time, not just the first-tier manufacturers, but those deeper in the supply chains too. Brands and retailers should be taking this opportunity to reevaluate their supply chains to reduce the unknowns that erode resiliency when unanticipated changes occur. To quote Grace Forrest from Walk Free Foundation and the UN Goodwill Ambassador, without transparency, we cannot see or protect vulnerable people. Brands' responsibility is to address issues deeper in the supply chain, starts with traceability and transparency. Considering that most big brands and retailers have long fragmented and complex supply chains with hundreds or even thousands of first-tier suppliers, supply chain mapping is not an easy, quick, or straightforward task for brands to undertake. It requires brands to choose to invest time and resources into the process. There are plenty of traceability and transparency tools available to brands and examples of leading brands that are mapping and disclosing their suppliers at the first tier and beyond, sometimes right down to the farm level. Fashion Revolution's own research shows that only 24% of 250 major brands and retailers are disclosing some of their tier 2 and tier 3 suppliers. Mapping a brand supply network is the first step, but crucially, this information must be shared publicly for the brand to reap the potential benefits that transparency enables and for a wider set of stakeholders to make use of data to improve accountability across the value chain. And to end on a positive note, 92% of mohair tops are exported. And South Africa produces approximately 50% of the world's mohair. That's pretty phenomenal. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Cyril. Some interesting stats there as well. Before we get to the next panelist, just so that you are aware, we are recording this webinar and you will receive a recording of it at the end. Up next, we have Annette Pringle from the Fashion Agent. Now, managing member and co-founder Annette Pringle-Kolsch moved from Stuttgart, Germany to Johannesburg, South Africa back in 2004, where she lives with a South African husband of the last 17 years. Pringle-Kolsch is an ex-Hugo Boss global brand manager with more than 30 years of professional experience in the fashion industry. And Pringle-Kolsch is a fashion professional globally and specific to the African continent in the fields of collection planning and merchandising, brand management, product development and pricing strategies, brand collaborations, manufacturing and distribution. And she's a hands-on advisor, implementing practical solutions, working closely with African designer brands, bringing positive change to their businesses. And her biggest success story is designer Tebe Magugu, the first African winner of the prestigious LVMH Fashion Prize in 2019. Pringle-Kolsch started the Fashion Agent, a B2B business, back in 2012. Now, Annette will be explaining the pre-order model and why this is exactly what the SA fashion sector needs. Thank you so much, Annette.
Thank you, Lundi, for the kind introduction, and thank you to the SA Mohair cluster and to Lucilla Boysen from SA Fashion Week for having me at the webinar today. So as Lundi said, I'm going to talk you through the pre-order model and with specifically a consumer aspect. So as you all heard, Cyril was talking very much about what manufacturers and retailers should do. And I'm going to wave the flag what we as consumers could possibly do to get to a more responsible behavior when it comes to fashion. So just a little bit of background. During the COVID pandemic, the Ethical Fashion Initiative had like a program it was called Ethical Fashion Hackathon, where one could subscribe. And I did that in May 2020, and it was quite amazing. Yeah, like lots of ideas were generated by participants, so 300 ideas. And then like we refined 30 ideas globally. And it's with great honor to say that the Fashion Agent has been selected as one of 3 ideas where we have received now more mentorship and more information on how to be more responsible in the whole fashion industry. And that was at the same time when I worked with SA Fashion Week and the SA Mohair cluster on getting 1838 Collective going, which is like the umbrella brand of the SA Mohair cluster, to create awareness and to market products which are manufactured with mohair from South Africa. Just a bit of table of contents. So I'm gonna like very briefly talk you through all those aspects. Starting with the designers. So Fashion Agent, as Lundi mentioned, is like a B2B business from the start in 2012. So we have always done pre-order model, meaning nothing has been manufactured without having like an order received from a buyer. A buyer in that sense, a store, a department store, concept store, or a boutique around the corner, also an online store. What we're doing now is we're offering the pre-order model to the consumer. So since last year, August, we've been working extensively on a MVP. Like in layman terms, it's like a pilot project to monitor how B2C, business to consumer interactions are working with an online store on a pre-order model basis. So in total, we support 12 designers, and we work always like on a minimum of a 12-week turnaround system. So if we get an order from a buyer, today, then we would deliver within 12 weeks time. And what's very important, we also ask for deposit payments so that the designer can really start working with the deposit received to buy fabrics, to pay the factory workers. And we also ask for balance payment before the goods are leaving are leaving to the stores or to the consumer, to make sure all the people who have worked on those products have been paid. Very important for us are the Sustainable Development Goals, and I'm just going to touch a bit more in detail on 3. So I want to highlight number 8, 10, and 12. So when you purchase something on pre-order, meaning you're not just going to a store and there it is and you grab it, but you say, okay, you want this product and you're happy to put your money down for a deposit and then it will only get made. You literally contributing directly as a consumer to these 3 SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. So number 8, decent work and economic growth. If you buy the product, it's important to understand that you're contributing to better working conditions. So we can make sure that it's not having to be made with overtime, during the night, hectic shifts. And we can also make sure that the workers are getting paid before the product is sold in the store. So with number 10, reduce inequality within communities and among countries. It's also workers throughout the value chain can be paid fairly and on time, and that improves quality of life. And the last one, number 12, responsible consumption and production, that we only manufacturing what has been really ordered. That's just where I'm sitting, our showroom. And Lindy said all of that. Just a bit to the history. So we started in 2012 with the physical showroom here in Johannesburg. Then thanks to Tebe Magugu, we had the opportunity to start physical showrooms overseas during Paris Fashion Week, business to business. And now we're going online. That's like showed by the phone, that we do the pre-order process now online 24/7 to businesses and to the consumer. So our target customer are designer brands, then retailers, and now also us, the consumers. Just a bit of numbers on market and competition. So we think it's possible to grab 1% of designer brand market by Q3 in 2023. So that's just some insights on our business plan, which will amount to $1.5 million. Yeah, that's also what Cyril has touched on numbers on the fashion industry. And a bit of insight on our partners. So these are the designers we currently have on board with the online store. So it's Judith and Muso Maxwell from the 1838 Collective, together with the SA Mohair cluster. And then Rich Nisi, we also work with a brand based in Lagos, Nigeria, Lagos Space Program. Good from Cape Town is on board, and Jamini from Kenya. So that's our reach. So we have 495,000 total followers. With the MVP, we started now in February 2021. So that's with the fashion agent, and like the biggest followers with the designers and our partners. And I'm just showing you some visuals so you can see. So these are all the designer profiles we're working with. Yeah, and that's now like our online store, which will be live soon. So our tagline is shop the continent's best first. So we give you access to the designer collections on pre-order based models. And we have touched on that in 8, 10, and 12. So that's also what we show on the website. That's what this slide illustrates. So the website is very much giving information on how the whole process works and how pre-order works and why it's so important to shift into that model. And that's like screenshots, how it's going to look on your phone. So our benchmark was very much like high-level designer online stores. And yeah, we can just scroll through those slides, which gives you an idea on how the end product will look. So this is very nice. That's Musso Maxwell from 1838. So we give like a lot of information about the designer, the profile, also when you just select the product and you see these little pop-up windows where it gives you an explanation, okay, when you order till then and then, your garment is ready 12 weeks later. And where you have the yellow blurb, it's possibly quite small for you to see, but we also show where the consumer is on a product journey, you know, like what happens once you've placed your order, what happens then with your product. And then we give also information on behind the scenes, so on how the process works. So be it photo shoots, be it like manufacturing, you see that lady with like blue indigo hands. So that's natural indigo in Osogbo in Nigeria. And you see also information on 1838, the Mohair products. In a bit of business planning, so we very transparent. So 45% commission from retail price sold is coming to the fashion agent. And then like from that amount, we're gonna distribute 55% to the designers. If it's wholesale basis, what we're taking is 20% from wholesale price sold. And there's a little diagram which illustrates it better on the website. It's this one here. So we, like to Cyril's point, we adhere to complete price transparency, that the consumer can see, okay, if I'm buying something, which means 100% paid by you, by the consumer, what happens with my money? Where does it go? Who is getting paid what out of that amount? And that's the team. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Annette. Now, I see some very important questions coming through in the Q&A. Thank you for all those questions. These have been noted, but some of your questions will naturally be answered by some other panelists. So please just listen out for that. If those aren't answered and we have some time at the end, our panelists will definitely respond right at the end. But let's go on to Roxanne Maddox from Samel Fibres. She's a sales consultant at African Expressions, a Samel natural fibers brand, and Samel is involved in all aspects of the mohair industry, providing sustainable, affordable, and superior quality products to the world. Now, backed by her extensive experience in the textiles industry, Roxanne will be giving us an overview of machine and hand knitting yarns, features and benefits, as well as how to access these products. Thank you, Roxanne.
Hi, Lindy. Thank you so much for that brilliant introduction. And welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us. And I'm sure you're going to be taking away a lot of information that is vital for the sustainable industry that we are part of. And as Lindy said, Samel is a firm within the industry that covers quite a vast aspect. We manage the farming, the processing, and spinning and dyeing of mohair in quite a number of forms. So let's get into it. Firstly, Samel was started about 30 years ago, and in South Africa, we're based in Port Elizabeth. And this was a drive by our chairman, who recently passed away, Mr. Patay. He fell in love with the Angora goat on a visit to South Africa, and it just sparked the idea of bringing mohair to the rest of the world through a small, well, back then it was small, now it's a lot bigger, company that goes out. And then, oh, oopsie. Through a need for a larger mohair production in South Africa, Samel invested in Samel Farming, which was started in 2011. And through the Samel Farming division, we've got 4 projects that we are hoping and are showing signs that it is working to produce a higher mohair production in South Africa. We team up with a number of farmers who look after flocks for us. So we purchase the goats and we get them to look after them, and we keep track of them, and we see how they are developing and producing the beautiful fibers that we have come to thrive on, thankfully, and we can't get enough of. Then we have woodlands and Angora stud, which is a SAML stud. We raise the beautiful rams and ewes to be sending out better genes into the gene pool, so we get better mohair. And then we also have an emerging farmer project where we assist emerging farmers to better skill them so that they can assist our industry in getting our production levels up. And then we've got the last one, which is the Angela Research Project. This is more on the genetic side. So we've got some scientists involved in helping us find better ways and improve the genetics of the Angora goat. And this will also assist us in the production. So everything here in the summer farming side is on the production. I'm not sure if most of you know, but South Africa is in the midst of one of the worst droughts in history, as far as I'm aware, from the research I've done. And at the moment, our farmers are struggling, and they are putting every bit that they have, time, money, literally going broke type of thing, to make sure that their goats survive this drought. And with this, flocks are shrinking a little bit, of course, and the amount of fiber that is available on the market is a lot less than it was a few years back. And with that, we are all fighting for the fiber. And here comes our trading division. Our trading division is the backbone of our business. And we have got our processing plant in Williamstown. So our team in the trading division go on, attend auctions where they purchase the greasy mohair. We outbid and we interact with all the other mohair traders in the industry. And this is just the starting point of the actual processing of the fiber. So once it's purchased on auction, we truck it up to King Williamstown, Eastern Cape, where we wash, dry, and comb the fibers. So the combing process is where it's basically like combing your hair, trying to get the fibers all to lie in the same direction so that the spinning process is a lot easier. So then once it's all processed, we bale it up into about 250 kilogram bales, and we truck it back down to PE. And that is where our headquarters are. And this is where the next step comes in. Most of our mohair tops are exported, but most of them that don't go out over the ocean gets used in our spinning plant. So this is where my knowledge kind of fits in as part of the spinning team. So at Summer, we can produce custom-made yarns for just about any application. And we can do custom blends, custom spinned types, as well as dyeing. So you can pick your color. So it's literally mix and match and even create from scratch what you want to use for your products. And literally your imagination is the limit here. With designers, we do tend to help you along the way. So if you're unsure, it's first time using mohair, we will hold your hand and guide you through it. We're not expecting you to know exactly what yarn you want or the color or anything on that side. We just need your idea. We need to have your vision in mind, and we can help you achieve that. And we've got a great team of dyers that can help us and match and get the exact color that you're looking for to make your design come to life. And the great thing about mohair is you don't have to have these intricate designs to make your design come to life. The natural luster that mohair has can bring a simple stockinette stitch into 3 dimensions. It shimmers, it shines, and it just comes to life. And it is amazing to watch designers kind of light up when they see their designs come to life in mohair, compared to some of the other fibers that they may have tried. And mohair is not the itchy, scratchy fiber that it used to be. And this is thanks to the technologies that have come about with the genetics, with breeding, farmers sorting their mohair correctly, as well as the spinning and dyeing technologies that have come available. Yeah, we love working with designers, and African Expressions in particular does. We are a stock service base, so we hold the stocks for you, and you don't have to place an order of like 300 kilos or 20 kilos for a color. We can give you just enough to get started and get your hooks into mohair, so to speak. African Expression started in 2011 with only 3 yarns. Currently, we are sitting with 14 yarns and over 500 colors. So there is something for every project available. And our yarns were designed initially for hand knitting in particular, but subsequently with the demand for mohair yarns and readily available yarns, they have been adapted for machine knitting. So if you work with great knitters that are available, and some of them are here as part of the panelists for today's webinar, they will guide you and assist you in knowing exactly which yarn to use for the machines that they have available. And that is a great part of the process, is that you work with people that can guide you the right direction instead of just leaving you to trial and error, and waste beautiful yarn. Can't have that. So yeah, we've got a diverse range. And at the moment, we are in the process of being RMS certified. And this is part of our social responsibility as well. We've got a need to be aware, as Cecil and Annette said, we have to be aware of our impact on Mother Earth and on our environment in general, be it social and economical. So we are working with the Textile Exchange, and we are busy making sure that all of our processes are in line, is the right word there, in line with all the requirements and standards being set. So we are making sure that what we produce is good for you, good for the planet, and good for everybody. So yeah, we also, as I mentioned, have our outreach programs. We assist with local knitting groups. We do the support and upliftment of previously disadvantaged farmers, and we are now being RMS certified. So we are ticking all the boxes to make sure that you produce products that will definitely meet everyone's requirements. And if you have any queries, any questions, or an idea of a project that you want to do, just give us a shout. We're here to help. We look forward to taking you along this journey. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Roxanne. All right, our next panelist is Beauty Mokwame. She's the Empowerment and Training Officer of Mohair SA. Beauty holds her BTech in Animal Production, as well as her National Diploma in Agriculture Management. And driven by her love and passion she has for Angora goats, Beauty's involvement in empowerment and training is a calling more than a vocation. And she works hard every day to contribute positively to the industry while changing the living standards of the communities she works in. Beauty will be giving us a presentation on BBEE and the future of Angora farming in South Africa. Thank you, Beauty.
Thank you, Lundi. Thank you so much. And thanks to the host staff for this beautiful platform to share. It's always exciting, and it's always my pleasure to share the beautiful transformation that is happening within our industry. And yeah, it's just amazing how the industry contributes to our people's lives. You're going to see now what exactly I mean, but it's really exciting, and there is a progress with the transformation within our industry. The Empowerment Trust was established back in 2010. It's existing now for the past 11 years. mainly to promote the Black economic empowerment within the industry. It's a drive that ensures the sustainable supply of mohair within the industry. And how do we do that? We identify the Black emerging farmers, and we empower, and we also in the process identify the participants, the young graduates, the entrepreneurs to participate within the structures of the mohair industry. We also aim to commercialize the Black farmers within the industry. So we just don't empower and leave. We ensure that at the end, at the exit of the project, we commercialize our Black emerging farmers within the industry. So this is just a structure that the Empowerment Trust report to. The Mohair Empowerment Trust, it's a trust that was established by the industry. So it's well represented by the whole entire industry. The chairman of the Mohair Trust sits in my trust. The chairman of the Mohair South Africa, the chairman of South African Mohair Growers Association, is actually currently my chairman. The two trustees that include the Black commercial farmer, that later I will share the beautiful success story, Simpiwe. And we also have the two trustees that represent the government side, or observing and ensuring that the industry it's really pushing the transformation within the industry. They report back to the Minister of Agriculture, and those are two Black, a female and a male officials from National Agricultural Marketing Council. So this is the structure that approves my project, or that I report to, and as I said, it's well represented by the whole entire industry. We don't do this, we obviously do this with government. I call them our key partners. Most of our beneficiaries, they are sitting or leasing the land reform farms. Some of them are leasing for 30 years. We know with the land issue, we have farmers that are sitting on lands with no livestock. So the industry is coming in those lands that are very suitable for the Angora goat, or showing the success potential potential to farm successful with Angora goats. We get involved and assist those emerging farmers. And as I mentioned before, earlier, we aiming to commercialize the farmers. So we try to get involved in one project a year, or assist one project a year to be able to commercialize that specific project. And we also, within those farms, we work closely with rural development and agrarian reform in maintaining the infrastructure, because as I mentioned, they are leasing those farms. So the infrastructure, like your sharing shed, the fencing, gets to be maintained by the Department of Rural Development and Agrarian Reform. So we work closely with them, and our partners, they sell the mohair through the official brokers within the industry. We also work closely with the Eastern Cape Rural Development Agency, because our aim, or our responsibility, or what we can assist with the goats, it's mostly the goats. I mean, with our emerging farmers, it's mostly the goats. So the Eastern Cape Rural Development and Agency, they come in where we cannot assist. And I'm also responsible for the training of these mohair producers, not only the empowerment partners, but any individuals that, I mean, the graduates, the students, the communities that are interested to this beautiful goats, Angora goats. We also do training, and through AgriSeta funding, we really achieving a lot of we're achieving a progress with our training within the industry. What do we do? How do we do it? So we purchase the goats via the free interest loan for the period of 5 years. We call it a loan because the partners are paying back, and simply because we have to empower the next partner in the following year. As I mentioned, we identify each one partner a year and try to commercialize the farmer. And I'm talking minimum goats of 200, maximum goats of 2,000. So the partners, they pay back the free interest loan within the 5 years, twice a year in every sharing. And we do this together. So once the partner is involved with Empowerment Trust, or a farmer or emerging farmer, I call them my partners, we then do this together. We farm together. So I have a very close relationship with my partners, and we really going somewhere. We're progressing. So the contract is 5 years, but we saw some of our farmers managing to get out of the project or the contract before the end of 5 years. And later I will share the story. And we also just don't buy goats and let the farmers, as I'm saying, we're doing it together. We take our farmer with us, we train, involving the vet, our industry vet. So the animal health issues part of farming that is attended by our professional vet. And then we also I specialize a lot with Mohair classing, ensuring that whatever product they're preparing for the 6 months before sharing, it's well classed at the end of the day to ensure the better price. So we do that, and in ensuring that at the end we achieve this large scale Mohair producers. We also support and assist not only the partners and any individuals that are interested in our industry. We respond to a lot of inquiries every day. It's a beautiful goat that everyone wants to have it. So if one wants to know something about the goat, we also assist and advise through the Empowerment Trust. I mean, the story is being shared everywhere. So now and then we get inquiries, we get interest, individuals that wants to farm with the goat. So we also do give a lot of support and the guidance and all that. And yeah, the Empowerment Trust, it's ensuring the BEE, the Black economic empowerment within the industry. And I've been involved for the past 2.5 years, but it's exciting, and there is a proof. You can see it. It's happening. There is a transformation within our industry, and we're really excited about that.
Beauty, I'm just going to ask you that we wrap up, please, because some people are unfortunately affected by load shedding, so we must be conscious of time.
Okay, but currently we're running 10 projects, which involves about 5,000 goats, and the trust is contributing, or the partners contribute about 15,000 kgs of Mohair per annum. And we're proud to say we are RMS certified, 100% RMS certified, meaning we're farming responsibly. And we also, as I mentioned, we work closely with the Department of Agriculture. We previously, in the past 2 years, hosted about 7 graduates that were placed within the industry, and it was under my supervision. And we train, as I mentioned, we're training the students and the farmers and the farm workers. This is just a footprint of, we're having about 10 projects, 9 is in the Eastern Cape and 1 in the Western Cape. These are just pictures taken during the audit of responsible Mohair standards in different farms, and we're really proud, as I mentioned, we're proud to say they are all RMS certified. We can just move on. It's just a picture showing, this is another farm. So you see the broker, it's just the brokers and the auditors on farms. And this is just a picture that was taken during the host of the graduates. They were placed within the industry in different organizations, the brokers, the farmers, some of Empowerment Trust farmers, and yes.
Perfect. Thank you, Beauty.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. At this moment, I just want to remind you that we still have the poll running. So please go and vote. We'll look at those results at the end. Up next, we've got Ruth Pringle from Stuken Yarns. Now, the Stuken Group is one of the few family-owned multinational fiber businesses in the world with a strong presence in rare and specialty fibers. Now, Stuken Yarns offers a stock service of undyed yarns directly from the spinning mill with a strong emphasis on sustainability through transparency and traceability. And Ruth will be outlining the features and benefits of machine and hand knitting yarns available through Stuken Yarns. Thank you, Ruth.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for the introduction, Lundi. So as Lundi mentioned, I'm from the Stucken Group. Here we go. So the Stucken Group is a vertically integrated company responsible for the processing, spinning, dyeing, weaving, and knitting of natural fibers. And there we are. And we specialize predominantly in mohair and wool. So for the purpose of this presentation, I will discuss the manufacturing and retail facing sections of the group. So processing from greasy fiber to top form is done at Gubbin Ings, spinning at Stucken Yarns, dyeing at specialty yarn dyers, and finally weaving and knitting at Henterfeld. But I will be focusing mainly on the yarn division. Okay, so because many of you haven't visited the mill before, I thought I'd just quickly scan through a video and give you a tour of the mill. It is quite a long video, it's 7.5 minutes, so it might feel like I'm rushing through it, but please come back so you can learn more and go through it step by step. Okay, so obviously mohair production all begins on the farm, as you all know. We then go to shearing, which I'm just really going to scan through. And the mohair is classed according to micron length and fineness. After the farm, it's then taken to the broker. And here we have Gerrit, who is the Stucken, the buyer for mohair. And he will, in preparation for the auction, visit the broker and, looking at his order book, see what he requires for his orders. Mohair is then bought on auction. There he is again. And is then taken to the Stucken Mill, which is just outside Uitenhage. Apologies for the video lagging a bit. The first step is the step we see here, which is scouring. This is when the mohair is washed with biodegradable detergents. And as the mohair passes from bath to bath, the mohair becomes cleaner. The vegetable matter and the dirt which comes off the mohair is actually a great fertilizer. So Stucken sends this to the citrus industry, which in turn provides citrus for Stucken's employees. And the mohair goes through a dryer and is then ready for the next process. This is wool carbonizing, so I'm just going to skip this part and get back to the mohair. Okay, so now we are at carding, which is the next process. And carding is a process that disentangles, cleans, and opens the fibers up and begins to form a continuous sliver ready for combing. I know we pressed for time, so I'm just going to go through. So this is at the end of carding. We see we've got a continuous sliver now ready for combing. We're very proud of our state-of-the-art combing. And in combing, the mohair is passed through a series of combs or teeth, which helps the fibers lie parallel to one another and further removes any vegetable matter left over and any shorter unwanted fibers. And once the fibers pass through a series of these combs, it's then put into these bundles of fiber, which we call bumps. and is either sold to Stucken Yarns or to various spinning mills around the world. Okay, so we are now at Stucken Yarns, which is obviously right next door. Here we see these are spun yarns which are being assembled and put onto one package, or what we call a cone. At the same time, it is going through a sensor to check for any faults. Here we have a savio. So these are where our yarns are twisted. So yarns are twisted into 2 or 3 or 4 plies, depending on the yarn type. This is just an example of a yarn that we make at Stucken Yarns. This is 100% mohair. And you can see the brilliant colors that one can achieve with mohair, as you all know. And yeah, I'm just going to scan through all of this. As I say, go through this at your own time, but finally the yarns are packaged and they are ready to be shipped around the world. And this just gives you a brief overview of the scale of the Stucken mills.
Thank you, Ruth. Is that from you? Oh, no.
I'm going to help him moving me around. Okay, there we go. Okay, so in our yarn collection, we'll start with weaving. With our weaving yarns, we predominantly spin finer yarns, which are for suiting, velour fabrics. We also spin heavier counts of weaving yarns for blankets and apparel. Our second section of yarns is hand knitting. Most of these are sold undyed for hand dyers, but we also dye and label balls for hand knitting brands. Machine knitting yarns, just like Samel, most of these originated as weaving and hand knitting yarns, but they have been adapted for machine knitting. And lastly, we have our specialty yarns, and these are just yarns that we have made for specific applications along the years, including macrame and carpets and all sorts of things. I'd just like to say in this point of the presentation that the Stucken mills are Oecotec certified, as well as RMS and RWS certified. We use mohair traceable back to farm. We use South African merino traceable back to farm. So it really is an exciting space in terms of sustainability. Okay, so I won't go through this, but I just thought I'd put it here so that you have a reference. So Stucken Yarns is an industrial mill, and we are geared for larger bulk orders. But for our local market, we offer yarns at wholesale level, and there are minimum order requirements there. We also can develop custom yarns, and depending on the yarn type, just for our machine sizes, these minimums are 500 to 750 kilograms. Obviously, there is some room to play there depending on the yarn type and if it's similar to something we already make. Then on retail level, we have an online store, and here we sell our most popular hand knitting yarns in 1 kilogram packs, and these are all on hand ready to ship. And then before I go, I thought I'd just share with you our other online stores. The Hinterveld online store. We have mohair, wool, alpaca, cotton blankets. We are known for our mohair blankets, and that's where you can find us at that URL. And we are selling our blankets at wholesale prices locally, just to the consumer. And then we have our Baby Mo by Hinterveld online store, where our Baby Mo products are also available at wholesale prices. So now you've really got the idea of Stucken from farm all the way to finished product.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and there are my contact details. If you have any questions or you'd just like to learn more, yeah, we love sharing our story. So please get in touch.
I must say that video was very satisfying to watch. And just to note, we are almost at 4 o'clock, so I am going to ask that we are mindful of the time. Up next, though, we've got Jacques Bertie from the Vuya Group, and with extensive experience in knitwear, supplying both with local and international markets. Jacques will be taking us through an explanation of the design and manufacture of garments using natural fibers. Thank you, Jacques.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. Vuya Group is just a local manufacturer here, established 7 years ago, and we use mainly natural fiber and produce garment started with designers and develop it in a way that make designers happy. At the end, to realize their dreams. We at Vuya, we consist mainly on designers, and we have a market to do for manufacture for local and international. We have done quite a lot of work today to reach where we are, and can say we only manufacture with natural fiber, mainly mohair. We do explain to any customer any type of garments, whatever they want. We can collaborate with anyone to explain them what they want. We have so many type of yarn that we use as natural fiber. So we use silk, mohair, we use cotton, linen, bamboo, and so on. That is available in the country. We make garments with different types of structure. So we've been here for quite a while, just to make sure that our designer understand. We explain them from A to Z, what they want at the end, and guide them through the whole process, what we do. We at Vuya, we're not only just making a garment, but we give you a product with all the explanation what you want. So we have a good process here, and our main focus is on the quality and to realize the dream of any designer. We have very little time, but our main focus today is on quality and type of knitwear what designer want. So we're looking to do different type and to be one of the unique in SA to produce fully fashion garment. We have a 3D system where design is concerned. We facilitate all designers' work. Today our percentage of work is mainly 60% goes international and balance is local. We do very little in terms of quantity per style, which is only a minimum of 50 units per style, just in order to make sure that we can cope with the quality. We do from design is like converting an artist design to a knitwear piece, which not a lot of companies like to do, but we at Vuya, we has invested into this type of system to make it work for the designer. We do also finish our garment by hand crochet, which is not only machine knitted, but our finish is by hand. So that's give most of our people are quite skilled into what they're doing. So our final product will be like pressing and the quality and measurement and make sure to the requirement of each and every customer. That is all about Vuya. I would say we will see you at any time at Vuya. Here is some of our products, and this all goes to Europe with a silk mohair. As you can see, I would say that is all from Vuya at the moment till I see you next time. Thank you very much.
Short and sweet. Thank you, Jacques. Appreciate that. Then up next, we've got Hanley Becker. Shame, Hanley, I know you've also been having connectivity problems, so I hope everything goes smoothly for you. She's the founder and owner of RAT Knitwear, which is spelled W-R-A-P-T. RAT is committed to slow fashion, weaving ethical and sustainable practices into each of their stunning garments. After 27 years in TV channel management, Hanley took the leap into the fashion world in 2017, and I'm sure she's never looked back. Let's hear about slow fashion, sustainability, and independence from fast fashion cycles. Thanks, Hanley.
Thank you, Lindy. Thank you very much for the introduction, and hello, everyone. As Lindy has said, knitwear is my second career. It's been a big change to make, but I could not be happier. Our studio is at Victoria Yards in the Johannesburg CBD. And this is a space that we share with a wide range of artists and manufacturers, from a gin maker to a jeans maker, to ceramicists and photographers and a couple of CMTs. So RAP produces and develops knitwear both under its own brand and for other third-party designers. In our very short history, we've been privileged to work for brands like Clive Rundle, Luna, Chiefs of Angels, Musso Maxwell, and Vivier Studio. And here you see just a few of the pieces we have done for other designers. Under our own brand, we make a small collection of knitwear, mostly for women, but not exclusively, and a small amount of homeware. This is a category that we would like to grow in the future. We try to make things that can be worn and valued for many years by using timeless shapes, gorgeous natural fibers, and distinctive detailing. We work predominantly in merino wool, mohair, cotton, and linen, and we source yarn locally as far as possible. We have a kind of internal cap of 9% on man-made or synthetic fibers in the blends that we use. This winter, our collection is dominated by mohair for a number of reasons. It's local, it's easy to source in quantities that we can accommodate as a very small enterprise. It comes in the most beautiful colors. I think many of you know about mohair's ability to absorb dye in a very special way. And it ticks all the environmental boxes. Also, we know that working from home in South Africa is a very, very cold affair in winter. And we really believe in the warming ability of mohair. It does it in a way that nothing else can manage to do. When we decided to work in natural fibers, we made the choice for both ethical reasons and to differentiate our brand. Initially, we thought that we would work in synthetics if our clients desired it, but we actually soon completely abandoned that idea. Firstly, because we became so convinced of the imperatives of not adding any more synthetic garments to the world, but also because our own expertise now centered on natural fibers, and it just made sense to try and share that expertise and pass those values on to our customers and our clients. As you can tell, we are passionate about knitwear made with natural fibers. James, you're about 2 slides ahead of me. 3 now. I need the first one with the little icons, please. And it's been very exciting to see more South African designers incorporate knits into their collections over the last few years. Knitwear to us, and I think to many other people, feels exceptionally well aligned with these strange times we're living in for practical reasons, emotional reasons, and ethical reasons. Because knitting gives a designer control not only of the construction of the garment, but even the construction of the fabric itself, it really offers so many opportunities to engineer it to fit its purpose and to make decisions that align with your values as a designer, starting much earlier in the value chain than when you buy fabric from a fabric retailer. So if you look at the little icons there, knitwear is about comfort. As a designer or a manufacturer, you can use the fabric, you can control the fabric composition and the weight. You can control what goes into the fabric. You can control how heavy it is, rather than being at the mercy of of fabric manufacturers. If knits are fully fashioned, it means there is little or no wasted fabric. And breathability lends itself to trans-seasonal clothing, which is something that we feel is increasingly important to create greater independence from fast fashion cycles. Also, for consumers, the benefit of mohair in merino includes the fact that it needs little cleaning, which means it is environmentally beneficial. Knitwear is also seen by consumers as investment pieces, and therefore consumers hold on to them longer. And knits lend themselves to mending, including interesting and statement-making visible mending, which again means that knitwear can be around and be in consumers' wardrobes for longer and be valued and even passed on. We are often moved when people come and tell us about a jersey or a blanket they have that they got from their grandmother or their father, and that they are still wearing. James, you can move on to, please. Another one. Apart from so as you will have noticed that the principle I've outlined coincide with those of slow fashion, and that is squarely where we are positioned. We don't have the capacity or the inclination to do mass production. Instead, we are here to work with small to mid-sized local brands, including those who might be new to knitwear as a category. Apart from full garments, we can also produce meterage of bespoke fabric or even ribbing, again giving designers an unusual degree of control. Fabric production works especially well for signature garments or detail. Now, if anyone wants to investigate working with us, the starting point is simple. Give us a call and we'll take it from there. You don't need any kind of knitting knowledge or technical know-how to get started, just an idea of what you'd like to achieve. We work from anything. We sometimes start with a sketch, a reference picture, a sample garment, or even just a verbal description of what someone is trying to achieve. We do have minimum order quantity, and there are definite constraints in terms of sourcing yarn. But working together with designers, we can usually navigate our way to a solution. Knitwear as a segment is quite underdeveloped in South Africa, and we really hope to work with designers and alongside people like Jacques and the yarn suppliers like Ruth and Roxy to help change that over the next few years. As a country, we produce both merino and mohair and cotton. And with the luxury fibers especially, we think that it's so important that we should be adding value rather than exporting raw material. As a knitwear business, we are part of the value chain that starts with mohair and merino farmers, runs through the spinners and dyers, through designers and retailers, and all the way to consumers of end products. This is my second career, but I love it very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hanli. And then we are extremely privileged to be closing off our panel today with Doreen Chung, Head Production Manager at Philippa K, creating collections of clothing and accessories in the categories of women, soft sport, and man. This global brand is on a mission of mindful consumption, and they are present in 20 markets globally through 24 brand stores and over 400 premium retailers and department stores, and their own e-commerce site. Doreen has been at Philippa K for over 12 years and boasts considerable industry experience and professional training in textiles. Now she's going to take us through the journey that Philippa K has made into sourcing mohair from South Africa. Thank you so much, Doreen.
Well, thank you for having me. Being the last one out, I'll try and make it very speedy here. We have a few minutes. I'll try and make it quick, all right? So back to a little quick background on the company. Thank you. So I won't say everything over there. You can read it. But it's a Swedish brand based in Stockholm. And as Lundi said, we have both e-com, own shops, and retailers and wholesalers at the same time. So the next, I would like to share our journey with Mohair, how we work with them. We've been working with Mohair for 20 years, and actually I've been with the company for 23 years, actually. And Mohair is one of our favorite fibers. And since the PETA coverage, we know that this is not the normal practice, but at the same time, it's a very important wake-up call for everyone. So we felt that we had to do something. So therefore, we teamed up with a few other Swedish brands, and we took contact with MSA, the spinners, the brokers, to see how we can help contribute and accelerate a change. Then we were invited to South Africa in 2019, and it was a very good hands-on experience to see from the farm level to the spinners. And what we could sense was the genuine passion, dedication from the farm level down to the spinners, and also the tremendous support that we felt from the textile exchange that they have given us, the MSA for giving us all the information that they need. It gave us the trust and confidence that we felt the certification of Mohair was going to happen. It was just a matter of time. So I hope that I get my time correctly, but I think if I'm not wrong, I think it took just less than 2 years for Mohair to be certified. So I think that must be a record, I think. And to share a little bit about the philosophy of our company when it comes to sustainability, as Lundin mentioned, we are aiming to drive a mindful consumption. And that means we would like to have styles that we can use, few pieces, and you wear them for a long time, and giving them a second ownership, because we also have secondhand sales in a sense for goods that are being pre-loved. So getting certified is very important, as we feel as a brand, because it's nothing we've done before, but because of this, we felt like it is an important step. And since April this year, Philippe Paquet has been certified, and RMS is one of them. So for fall this year, 2021, we will be launching 3 styles that will be certified. 2 of them will be RMS and RWS certified, and 1 will be RMS certified. So we're very excited and nervous to see how the response is from our consumers and also our peers in our industry. So we will actively work towards having certified products in our collection going forward. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Doreen. Also short and sweet. Thank you very much to every single panelist. Some great insights coming through there. So if you do have a question right now, you can just unmute yourself, ask your question, and then if you would like to answer, just do the same, unmute yourself and then mute again once you are done. Any questions? Complete silence. Everyone is scared of this load shedding, hey? All right, well, I think we should then... Okay, cool. Let's see if any questions come through. All right, we will answer questions at some stage, but maybe we should also... Okay, here we go. They're coming through now. All right. Is mohair considered as a sustainable fiber? Doreen, would you like to answer that one?
Oh, the last one in and with the most difficult question, I think. I don't have a good answer. I can only reply from what I can experience and feel. There is, I think, anything that we do and everything that we'll do will have an impact no matter what. So for us to be able to do it as most sustainable as possible, one of the ways to make sure that we choose source quality that is sustainable, and having certification is one of the way we see that is choosing fibers that we think are sustainable, how we want to work with our sustainability. So I hope that answers part of the question.
Okay, fantastic. All right, I think we should get to the poll answers now. In our first poll, 80% answered Turkey. So that question was, which country did mohair originally come from? And the options there was Greece, China, and Turkey, and 80% said Turkey. Then our second question was, what animal does mohair come from? Is it the Angora rabbit, the alpaca, or the Angora goat? And 88% luckily said the Angora goat. Then in our third poll, which country produces the most mohair in the world? There was Lesotho, South Africa, or Italy. And 86% said South Africa. Fantastic, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Last question. Ruth or Roxy, if you would like to explain how RMS is designed to ensure that animals are treated ethically. And after that, we can just wrap up.
Okay, well, I'll just say that I think it might be best that they go online and they read about the RMS certification, because it's obviously different on farm level compared to the mill and to a brand.
All right. Roxanne, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, I agree with Ruth. It is quite a complex certification, so it does apply differently for the different stages in the supply chain. So what applies for farmers doesn't necessarily apply to processors, nor does it apply to the manufacturers and retailers. So it is quite a complex certification, and it's best to just do a little bit of research. It is quite interesting to actually see what it involves and what it covers and how it protects the way we farm with animals, as well as how we are processing the fibers. So yeah, I think a little bit of homework there is needed.
Fantastic. All right, so we will definitely share some information. If you'd like more information, please just drop your email address in the comments section, and we will definitely share more information with you. But ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of this very, very insightful gathering. I must say, from myself, it has nothing to do with the mohair industry. I've learned a lot, and I've really learned to love this noble fiber and these animals as well. So thank you so much for that. And then a massive thank you as well to SA Fashion Week and to the SA Mohair Cluster for having me and trusting me with your webinar. And thank you very, very much once again to every single panelist. If you do have questions though, you can contact the South Africa Mohair Cluster at samohaircluster.co.za or just drop an email at connect@samohaircluster.co.za. And that is it from me, Landi Khoisan, as well. Really appreciate your time. And then from my side, goodbye.